Hi, guys. Welcome back to This Feels Holy podcast. I am your host, Danna-Gift, and I have some amazing guests on this podcast with me today. I'm super excited for us to dive into their journey because what they've created here is magnificent. And I'm going to give you guys all the B-roll, all the stuff, because there's a lot of things going on at the Hive Fit Club. I'm excited to show you. But first, let me introduce my guests. I have Thea and Doug here with me here at the Hive. So say hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's an honor to be here. We're so excited.
I'm so excited for you to join me. Okay, y'all, they have a crazy story. So we're going to dive in right away because I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it in an hour, but we're going to try. So first question I want to ask is what does my audience have to know to understand how you got here today?
Wow. That's it.
That's
Talk
a long
about
story,
opening
yeah.
up here with a loaded question, Donna.
I got to get you in here fast.
It is. Let's do it. Let's
We
do
gotta
it.
plug
Let's
in.
do it quick. Really, everything comes down with T and I is to taking personal responsibility. We came. We got married next month, babe.
Yep.
It's going to be 25 years. We
25
have been
years.
married.
25
Yeah.
years?
Yes, we got
I was
married.
19.
Yeah, 21, and we just
Wow.
dove right in.
Oh,
and
my
we
heart.
chose to grow up together. And man, you fast forward through our life, you don't remember all the seasons of greatness. You remember the seasons of heartache and the areas that, literally we about quit on each other a couple different times.
Wow.
We about quit on our businesses. We about quit on literally everything that I feel like we're living in the blessing of today.
Yeah.
Those are the things that when it got hard, we almost threw in the towel.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure.
it starts with personal responsibility and decision. We made a decision that we were going to create the future and be chain breakers for our kids so
Yes.
that we could set them up to be waymakers in this world, to be lights in this world. Our parents did a lot of work in their generation, and we knew it was time in our generation to make a difference. And that's
Wow.
what we've done the last 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an interesting responsibility and weight to bear when you say things like I'm ready to break that generational curse.
Yeah.
But you truly are changing the course of your entire family just by you guys doing the work that you have already done.
Yeah, and in order to do that, you got to swim upstream and figure out what's happened in your family before you. Tia fully
Yeah.
is aware of the addictions and the challenges that comes from her family bloodline, but also the blessings.
Yeah.
I needed to dig around. I needed to ask some questions to my mom, to my dad, to my grandmas and my grandpas to figure out what, the things that I'm fighting today as a man is not my battle and my battle alone.
Yeah.
It's because my dad fought the same fight. It's because my grandpa fought the same fight. But we're continuing to change and press in to break the chains, but also adopt the areas of blessing that we've had. And so we've incorporated a lot of that into our marriage to recognize, areas that give us opportunity to look within, look in the mirror, press a little bit closer and look at it. It's like, it's like looking in the mirror. The closer you get to see your complexion, you start seeing your zits and your
That is so
all your
true.
crap, but it's like, that's when most people start to draw away. It's like, oh, I don't
Yes.
like that. It's easier to put a Instagram filter
Yeah.
on
Yes.
our
Yes.
camera or whatever, because it's like we don't like the way we look. But no, we can
Yeah.
actually, the closer you get, man, you can actually do something about it if you're really serious about growth.
Yeah. I'll just add that, when we made a decision to start accepting the blessings of our bloodline
Yeah.
and not focus on the generational curses. Now, we did the work. We've done a lot of inner healing work. I've done deliverance work. I've put in the time. I put myself in coaching masterminds and things like that to really
Wow.
grow over the last, 25 plus years and really the last 7 years of my life. But when I began to step into the blessing of my lineage and take that to the bank,
Yeah.
and I can say that my grandmothers were praying women of faith. And I live in that blessing today. So every day when I wake up, I know that they are with me. There is a great cloud of witness cheering us on. And I feel them with me on the days where it's my hardest days, on the days where I'm celebrating when the doors opened on January 1st.
Yeah.
I felt, my lineage, my family's, because this is a dream that Doug and I had in our heart and behind our eyes, and to see it come into reality is insane. And also, I would say that my family, they knew how to work. And
Yeah.
I could lean on the side that was like a negative, or I could lean on the side that my grandfathers, they knew how to work and they were entrepreneurs and that entrepreneur spirit. And so every day I wake up like, okay, I was born with this entrepreneurial spirit and I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to do the hard work. I'm going to do the heart work, because I think a lot in that generation, they did the hard work,
Yes.
but they didn't know it wasn't okay to do the hard work.
Right.
It wasn't
And they were
okay.
almost doing it out of survivability
Yes.
instead of passion-driven pursuit. So I understand that generation for sure. But then they took out the emotion and the
Yes.
compassionate part.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're starting to include all of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Which now the fire, when you start that fire, you can't stop it.
Right.
It
It's not
impacts
containable.
everything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, okay, you guys alluded to doing the work and what that all looked like in your family. So how did you guys have this vision, first of all, for a very long time? Or when did the Hive start to manifest in your minds?
We moved to Scottsdale 11 years ago, so it would
Okay.
have been summer of 2014.
Yeah.
And I remember some different God winks that we felt.
God
we
winks,
always
I like
saw,
that.
We always saw a place that included people coming together around healing. Now, we're both recovering church growing up kids, and we,
Yeah.
we still go to
like
church this day.
church wounds.
Yeah,
Were
we
you
have a little bit of
Catholic?
that.
We get
No.
we got healthy now, but I wrote a book you guys can read if you want. It's called Church Boy to Millionaire.
We're gonna tag that.
It is I mean, literally, it's very, because I had to get to a healthy place with the church, but really, I started to throw the church water out with God, and I realized, some of us have actually religious wounds, not God wounds,
That's
Yes.
right.
and
that
because
is
we've been
it.
raised in religion, and actually not the freedom of Christ, and so we're open to talking about it. But I remember coming through here.
Yeah.
We were just like, we wanted to create a place. We wanted to create like a sanctuary, a place of healing.
Yes.
Literally, the whole recovery department's named Heal. So we saw this,
Yeah.
and we saw it behind our eyes, and we started putting heavy action to it about 4 years ago, Hunty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Started putting it out on paper, talking with our financial advisor. We've invested the last 15 years of our life financially, but we wanted to give a gift back to the city that actually, I believe we really wanted to put roots down in the city for the next generation, for our kids, for our grandkids, for our great grandkids. And this is a legacy project for Doug and I.
Wow.
We've invested in a lot of, we have an online school that we co-founded back in 2018 called Valor Global Online. And that is a passion project as well. But this is really a legacy project for Doug and I.
Wow.
And we wanted to put roots down and create a place that people can break through and heal and restore and honestly find community, because I feel like that's what people are looking for mostly.
Yeah. I think people, especially when COVID had hit, everybody kind of got comfortable with being isolated and
Yeah.
alone. And now people are opening their eyes to see how important community actually is. You
Right.
can't grow if you're just isolated and by yourself.
Right.
So I really love what you guys are doing here. I mean, you guys are hosting Bible study and workouts. What are these events
Weights and
called?
worship.
Weights and
We've got
worship.
Beehive. We've got Men's Dragon Slayer on Saturday morning. Everybody
Wow.
walks into a gym for a healthier body.
Mm-hmm.
And my question for you is, how's your spirit?
Yeah.
How's your soul?
That's so
Like,
important.
how's your relationship with your spouse?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
connected with your kids? Are you providing for your kids emotionally and spiritually, as well as you're providing for them financially? And that's the important part of what we're doing. And we know why people are walking in here. Yes, it's a cool place. I mean, look around.
Yeah.
I mean, it took us $4 million to build this place out
Wow.
with equipment, with all the decor and everything. We wanted to create a wow, Insta, TikTok factor. And,
Yeah.
you Google Hive and it's everywhere, all right?
Yeah,
it is
for
everywhere.
sure.
Because I
Yeah.
know that's, I ain't going to lie, that's our bait.
Yeah.
That's our access
you-
of getting
yes.
people in here.
Yeah.
And then they walk in and they instantly feel like, this place is different. There's something
Yeah.
about this. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely
Oh,
there
you
is.
can't help it. You're energized the minute you walk in. And then also because of both of your personalities,
Yeah.
you're both here all the time
Yeah.
too. Like I feel like gym owners, and I'm not to knock on any other gym owners, but I've been to gyms where like you'll never see the owners ever. If you try to cancel their membership, they make it so gosh darn hard. You have to like chop off your leg and arm before they let you cancel. But like this is just everything you guys are. I mean, this is like you. This is both of you.
So to your point, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, because this is more, yes, we're financially invested because it is a passion. We want
Yeah.
our DNA, our heart and soul to
Yeah.
be here. And number two is we decided to put in the policies and procedures from day one. If you don't want to be here, it's okay to cancel. Who
Yeah.
wants to be somewhere that they don't want to be anymore?
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like
No one.
there's no contracts. We don't make,
Yeah.
we don't make it weird for people. It's 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it easy.
We wanted to create a place that's going to cause you to up level. So, if you're looking for that, we're the place for you. This isn't a comfortable zone,
Yeah.
but it's a zone that you're going to be celebrated. You're going to be cheered on in your life, and you're going to be called to accountability, because here at the Hive, we're not just about your physical body. We're about that mindset of like
Yeah.
helping you renew your mind, helping you get new pathways and stop that negative chatter. And also like your spirit, like that's the most important. Like there's many more years and an eternity in the helm right now for people. And that's what our heart is really about, is about people's spirit and having them really encounter this space is beautiful, because I want them to know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, that there is like beauty inside of them. And if we can wake that up in them, and I'm talking to the men too, like just calling that out in them is like, when they walk through the doors at the Hive, I want them to instantly be elevated, to leave their old self behind and step into a new creation, a new them.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys you don't create these morals out of thin air. So I want to hear more about the history of like, what were the struggles that you guys went with? What are these generational curses that you have had to break through? Because to have the heart and spirit that you guys are and wanting to pour out into others didn't just come from nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I always like to say I was born 10 and a half pounds. So God bless my mother. So I feel like I was fighting obesity from the day I was born. And, you know, I was
Wait, how big is your mom?
She's
my
tiny.
mom was
She's
tiny. I
little,
felt
like,
bad for her.
really?
She was 12 pounds, so she had me at 10. So no.
She's like tiny.
She's like 5'4".
No, bless
you
her
know.
heart. My mom to this day still has her battle scars.
Wow.
From
Show
carrying you.
me.
Yeah.
And but you know, there's an interesting thing about me is that I'll share, because I kind of want to write to it. I was hiking Pinnacle Peak yesterday, and I was thinking about this, and you know, our parents. You know, I'm so grateful for my parents, and as I grew up, I was a big boy. I had man boobs, and I say boy boobs.
Boy boobs.
High school boy boobs, and like it was always such an insecurity to me, and all the way till I was about 28, 29, 30, I think, is when we finally took personal responsibility for our health. Luckily, I married Thea. Good thing she liked boobs, because I do too. So she loved me anyway.
I loved you through it.
But we got healthy together.
Yeah.
We started getting healthy together, and
Now, did you also have health things?
Yeah, I
that you-
lost 40 pounds. Doug and I lost over 100 pounds combined
Wow.
back in 2009.
2009, 2010 is when we lost a good portion of our weight.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys did that
Released a
journey
lot
together.
of
Wow.
released a lot of trauma, you know, out of our bodies, and that set us on the course. I really believe, to the fitness side, but that didn't come till way later. I mean, Doug went through, and I mean, we're
had
not
skin surgery.
Skin
I
surgery.
literally, even after I lost 75 pounds, I still had like a lot of skin left over, especially in my chest.
Because it doesn't just go away.
Yeah, so I had what's it called, a mastectomy or a mansectomy or something.
They
Anyway,
pulled it
to where
down,
literally
tightened
they
it.
pull, tighten it and stuff. I'm very open about it, because those are my scars.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind scars.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to talk about them. And I began thinking about this, and something I was thinking about yesterday on my hike, Donna. I'm just going to cut right to it, because I'm open to talking about this now. I remember being years ago, I was battling depression in early October, and also in April. And I still do to this day, but it's gotten better each and every year. And I began tracing back to my steps, talk about going and seeing our family roots. I began asking my dad, I'm like, Dad, what do you think's going on? I finally went to my mom. Him and my mom had divorced. And I said, Mom, what, did anything, Tia did, you started asking Mom too, like, did anything happen during your pregnancy with Doug? And she's like, yeah, I found out that Doug's dad, my dad, was cheating on her during the pregnancy with me. Well, she didn't want me. She would have left.
Yeah.
She would have left my dad if she was not pregnant.
She cried out to God. I don't think it would be prayer. She just like cried, like, God, why did you give me this baby in the midst of? So it was just like she carried him to full term, 10 and a half pounds.
And she was bedridden in a deep depression, and all she remembers is being in a fetal position on a floor, crying in pain, not because of carrying me, because of the weight of she was so hated my dad.
Stayed,
but she stayed in the marriage. She stayed for me, and she went ahead and birthed me, obviously.
Wow.
And I'm very close to my mother, and I love my father as well. But I share that with you because the pain that I deal with in October and also in late March and early April is when my mom was going through the most pain if she found out about actually the affair. And
So 3 months
Wow.
in utero is October for
Yes.
him. That's about when she found out.
yeah.
And then again,
Wow.
another stent at the end of the pregnancy.
And it wasn't just an affair. It was with someone very, very, very close to the family.
Yeah.
Like it was like her
Oh,
best friend.
trusted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
so I share that with you. The pain that we're carrying today, Donna, is not always our
It's
pain.
not our stuff.
Yeah.
While I was being formed in literally my mother's womb, my mom was in a deep depression and dark place. So why?
Mhm.
Of course I struggle because literally as I'm being formed, I was born, I was formed in a season of depression and
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah,
And so,
your
but,
embryos.
so that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about
Absorbs
when we're
it.
saying we're breaking generational curses.
Yes, we
It's
Yes.
are.
starting at such a deeper level
Yeah.
than we just like, oh yeah, we just go through, crap in March, get over it. No,
Yeah, but see, that's how the enemy sneaks
Yes.
in because you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And you push it off as if it's nothing you have to work on.
and I
Right.
did
But
that
it
for a lot of
creeps
years,
in.
and I'm like, this keeps creeping up, and I'm like, why am I in pain the same time of year? I
Yeah.
thought it was placebo effect.
Yeah.
First, and I've started doing work every single year. I recognize it. I know it before it's coming. Tia reminds me, she's like, March is coming. I'm like, I know. I take this March and April.
So you're
on.
prepared.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
you're
each
putting
year it's
on
getting
armor.
better.
Yes,
It's
you
getting
got the
better, but
armor
I
on.
still feel it. I still feel it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what about you? What other things were you struggling with?
Well, my
With your
parents,
generations.
when I was 5 years old, got radically saved. Like my whole, all of my mom's siblings, there was like a revival in my small little town in Iowa. My aunt and uncle had come back and planted a church. So my parents like really were chain breakers in that sense of like bringing me to faith. So I was raised up in faith. They, other siblings, my dad's siblings were addicted to nicotine and alcohol. But my parents really broke off alcoholism off of our bloodline, but it snuck up in 2020. I found myself I'm such an empath and I really feel the world. And I was just so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed, like, God, I was Googling way too much stuff and what was happening.
I
And
did
I
the
was
same
hearing
thing.
all the tabloids. And, it was just way, especially around children and stuff like that I was finding. Like, I think I was going to be under my little rock and God was beginning to just reveal, truth to me. And it was so much. And I was going to the bottle. I found myself after about, I think it was like October of 2020. I think I had probably drank every night
Wow.
during that year.
And is this just to numb your senses?
Yeah,
Was-
just so
okay.
it wasn't like a whole bottle, but it was like a glass a night or
Yeah.
2 glasses a night.
She
and-
was. I want to clarify. Tia makes it sound like she's this raging alcoholic.
No, it was just, it was a
it
way
was
to like
becoming a
numb out.
habit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of just like some of us might have a little too much dessert every single night, or some
that's
people
me
go to
right now.
chocolate
Or have your candy drawer.
or candy drawer. Like
Yeah.
she realized it was becoming. We used to drink like once or twice a month
Oh,
just
yeah,
for a
just
celebration.
socially.
She found
okay.
herself doing it on her own after us and the kids would go to sleep, just a couple glasses.
And it was
so it was
sneaking
becoming
in.
this routine.
Yes.
And then she was embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
So she would hide the bottle the
Shame.
next
Shame
morning.
came.
Wouldn't
Even
you
though we
wouldn't-
had tons
yeah.
of wine in the house for events,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was more like, when the moment it becomes shameful, there's nothing wrong with I like to say there's nothing wrong with dessert once in a while if you've earned it.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
glass
it's when
of
I
wine,
start
yeah.
sneaking and throwing away the wrappers.
That's when it
because I
becomes
don't
a
want her
problem.
to see how much I ate.
Yes.
That's when it's becoming an issue because it's
Yes.
just embarrassment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I saw the enemy and he's sneaky. He comes like a
So
thief
sneaky.
in the night,
Yes.
And it was just like, I was like, I had to call a throwdown. It was like literally, and I went live for the next 100 days on my social media and invited people to live a life of sobriety.
Wow.
And maybe it wasn't forever. And during that season, some of my friends chose a full life of sobriety and like no longer will ever drink again. And so it was a powerful season, but I went public. And I
Wow.
think when you're breaking generational chains and when the enemy comes at us with the same tactics, because he's not smart. He uses the same tactics generation after generation after generation.
Right.
And when we realize, oh no, not on my watch, because I was like, oh no, I had enough people around me. I'm like, I'm going live. So I literally went live for 100 days and shifted.
Wow.
I believe shifted the trajectory of my life and my children's life too,
Wow.
because it's not going to happen on my watch.
Most people wait till they're through a season to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a difference maker in Tia and I's life, and people always ask you, like, what's your secret to success? I'm like, you don't want to hear it because you ain't going to do it. But I would say if you had to chalk up, like if we had to give 5 secrets of success, it's talking about and being transparent about the journey while you're still in the journey versus waiting till it's all polished and beautiful. And
Yes.
let me tell you what I was really going through. Now, there's
Yes.
psychological safety. You don't need to share everything all
No.
the time.
Yeah.
There's wisdom. I can now talk freely about my mom and my dad's story
Yes.
today, when a few years ago it was just a little too fresh.
It
And
was too sensitive.
too
Yeah.
wounded, but I could acknowledge like there's a lot of stuff going on in my family. So I think you can still give things time and energy and
Yeah.
focus without telling the whole story. But a lot of people just wait and then they just give the Instagram. I always talk about the filtered version because I'm so sick and tired of scrolling on TikTok and Instagram and
Yes.
Facebook and seeing everybody's perfect life. And I got to a point to where I'm like, we have a good life. We know by what everyone else is aspiring to. We have lived it. We have it. We either own the stuff. We don't have debt. We're cash free people and company. We don't live in debt. And I'm going, if I still deal with crap, Donna, gosh dang it, you do too. So why are you acting like you don't? Why are you just giving me the highlight reel? And it's BS. It's BS. And people are in we're in 2025. We're such in a transparent world we live in.
Yes.
Transparency earns trust. Transparency, if you're going for dollars, being real will make you connect with other people, and it will earn you dollars too.
Yeah.
So that's why this podcast is so powerful, because you've been sharing parts of your story that I never knew about you. The other day, I love seeing your stuff. It's like, and you'll notice when someone's real, you stop and you're like, stop the scroll. Hold up. What did I just hear? Why, you're drawn to that, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I would challenge your audience to start doing that now, not waiting till, that's why I love this podcast. And that's why I love this podcast, because it's just like, you know what? Let's just set up here. Let's just do it. You don't have all the behind the scenes.
Make it real.
We ain't on like $20,000 equipment. We on phones and microphones and DJIs, and because you know what? We're authentic when we're real, and that's why this podcast is exploding. Is because you're just authentic and real.
I love that. And I really love that you guys choose to live in the light, even though there's darkness in your hearts. So, I mean, we're always, there's always something that we're working through. But that's how the enemy kind of creeps in. He tells you can't share this until you're done and healed. But like, what does healed even really mean at this point?
If I'm ever completely healed, please let me know. I'm probably be in eternity.
Yeah, you'll probably be
it ain't happening this side of eternity.
You're not even going to be in your human body anymore if you're fully healed. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And that's why I really love what you guys do, because this isn't just a gym. You guys said you focus on the spirit and how you feel. And the okay, let's talk about the equipment first of all. Y'all have the craziest biohacking stuff ever. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Hocket? Hocat? It's a Hocket.
There are two versions. Hocat. Hocat just sounds weird, like we're not a
sounds
hoedown.
weird. Yeah,
I like
Let's have a Hocat, right?
Hocat.
Or a Hocket. But anyway, all I know is the stuff works.
The healing stuff,
It works.
Yeah. So okay, the desire to create all this biohacking equipment, did that come from your own healing journeys, like when you were losing weight together?
Yes.
And okay,
both. Let's say since we've gotten healthy, the last 7-8 years, we've started being introduced to new tools, like things that I didn't know that my testosterone was low. Why am I working out so hard and I feel like I'm going backwards? I got tested. I didn't know that after we started traveling, we would get a Hocat. And what it would do for our recovery. I didn't know when I started getting drip IVs.
Yeah.
I mean, we had all these memberships around town, and we were being introduced to new tools, but we found ourselves driving all over the city.
Figure eights everywhere.
Down.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was this at? Where?
Here in Scottsdale.
Well, we would find we found all these therapies in our own healing journey. Like, you get to this place where you're like, you have to find a way, you have to find the tools to move you forward. You hear from this person, or you scroll and you're like, I got to go check that out. So we were doing the Hocket when we would come home to detox. We were doing the TRT. I remember specifically driving Doug when I knew like we have to do something I remember at 40, like something is happening with me. I need some hormone balancing.
Yes.
So it was all the tools that we were needing, the red light therapy, the cold plunging, the hot sauna. I mean, we had gone all the way to Switzerland back in 2019 after we had traveled the nation with Doug's book. We were gone for like 100 days, and we came back home and we were like exhausted, been to like 35 different tour stops, came home, and Doug booked a trip for us to go to Switzerland. Well, the Europeans recover much better than us Americans. They
Americans
go to
just work
they go to the
out, but
that
don't
and our
recover.
Food. Let's not even
and
get started with our food. That could bring me down a whole rabbit
That's
hole.
another
Yeah.
podcast. So we just knew like we've got to bring some of these things that we've awakened to and put them all under one roof to help people heal from the inside out.
Yeah.
And so they're not having to run all over. They're like learning in this environment where it's a little bit easier to take that step. Sometimes people aren't, I'll tell a friend like, oh, you need to go do this. And they'll be like, yeah. And I'll ask them a year later. And I'm like, did you go do that?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't have enough time. And it's like, well, now we've given you your time back. It's all here. And you just got to take that step.
And to that point, Donna, biohacking is not a hack. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
There are things going on in our food system today, in America,
Yep.
the world we're living in. We're connected to these phones, but we're actually disconnected from life.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to start healing our bodies.
Yep.
And that's why we
100%.
wanted to provide not just biohacking, a place for people to say, I am valuing my health. I am making a decision to be the best wife, the best father, the best husband, the best friend, the best boss, the best influencer that I can be. And I'm going to start tapping into modalities and healing hacks because I am making a decision.
Yeah.
I'm taking personal responsibility of investing in myself.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on people
Yeah.
all over TikTok saying, oh, it's a $2,000 a month gym.
Yeah, I can't stand that. Okay, because
Golly.
look, you go out to eat one weekend, that's $200 for two people.
Oh, yeah.
Like the priorities are so mixed up
Then
with
they're
our
saying
society.
$199 is a lot for this place.
Yeah.
I'm like, walk in here and you will quickly see the elevation of people, the person that you become when you provide an environment to grow and elevate it.
Yeah. And people don't realize, like, just because you can't see what's going on inside, they don't pay attention to it. So they think that they're okay. So, I mean, I've seen you guys done fitness competitions.
Yep.
I used to be in that industry. And when I would show up on the stage, it was the weakest I ever felt because of how we were taking care of ourselves. But people don't realize when you take care of yourself internally, that's when you can access the spirit and your heart. And you can actually start even developing your mind better. Because if your health is declining,
That's right.
you can't access anything else, but people don't value that, which is so, you want to just look good.
Yes.
Like, I don't care about that. I want to know, I want to have a fruitful mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, it's that alignment. I think nobody wakes up and says they want to be an alcoholic or they want to, have a porn addiction. They don't want that. They want breakthrough. They want freedom. They just don't know how. They don't have the tools.
That's the key.
Or the resources. And so what we're creating here is an environment, like an ecosystem, that you get yourself in this space and we will help you. We will help you take that next step. We will help you break through into getting free of those things. But most people just don't have the environment. You become like the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yes,
and
so true.
this city, when Doug and I moved here, we felt like, it's a big ocean. We were trying to find our way. And so it was kind of a give back for us because it's like, what this city did for us and putting us in environments with people that stretched us and grew us. We want to give that back and help this next generation. I mean, a lot of this gym has been filled with a lot of like it's like we have this baby boomer kind of group that are here. And then we've got these Gen Zers and millennials in between, and a couple of Gen Xers like me. But it's been so fun to just see this community kind of emerging and growing. And it's been a lot of fun.
And that's one of our passion spots is because I got a DM last night from a member and she was just like, Doug, like I'm torn up. She goes, I know she goes, I'm Catholic, but there's just something about the way you and Tia live that I'm just drawn and I could really use some prayer. But I like how she says I'm Catholic. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. God answers. There's,
Those are gang signs.
You can't, hey, you can't find gang affiliations in the Bible. You notice that? It's just like,
it's not,
it's the
there's
word
no
of God.
Christian in the Bible.
So she's like, would you and Tia pray for me? I'm like, yep. We come into the Hive every morning from 4:30 to 5:30 to pray alone.
Yes.
And then we start our workout at 5:45. And I'm like, if you want to meet us there at 4:30 or 5, come and we'll pray for you. She did. She came in this morning right over here behind us.
Wow.
We laid hands on her. She's going through a rough season with her uncle. Her uncle's losing his life, going through some things. We laid hands and prayed. And that's what happens here.
Wow.
That's what we're committed to.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Somebody gave me this sign behind us. It says, I leave you my work in Scottsdale. If you take the work and do it and enlarge it as God gives you strength, you receive my blessings and his. Chaplain Winston Scott. And that's actually Scottsdale.
That's who founded Scottsdale.
No way. Yeah. That is so cool. And I like that you guys put a map of that.
Well, actually, somebody got us that. Can you see the little pink thing in the middle?
Yeah.
That's the Hive.
Do you know the Hive
Is it
sits
really?
directly in the center
Stop. And it looks like a
It's-
cross.
Yes. Isn't that
Stop.
God? It's totally a
it's
God
just,
wink.
so that's why now you know you're seeing more and more things about the Hive.
Come on.
Yeah. This is a God. I mean, it goes back to like, it's a God idea. You know, God
Yes.
put it, you know, when people walk in here and they're like, wowed, it's like God put these ideas behind our eyes, and it's our responsibility to bring them into reality. You know, we are co-heirs with Christ. Like he made us in his image. We are to be image bearers to bring heaven into the earth. And so
amen.
that's my prayer, is when people walk in here, they get a little slice of like what eternity is going to look like, feel like, be like. And you know, I have lots more. I mean, this is the first Hive. People are like, "Oh, are you going to do more Hives and stuff?"
Absolutely,
It's like
you need to.
we're proving concept. But I have some fun, exciting things in my brain still. Doug's like always, and you're always like thinking outside the box and thinking about what we're going to create with this. We got 5,000 more square feet that we're building out here.
And I'm like,
that will be
what?
opening
Where?
in the fall. So
know
it's
when to
fun.
quit.
Crazy.
We don't know when to quit.
Yeah, can you guys open one in Miami? Because we're literally
Actually, we probably will.
You're pulling on my
bring the
heartstrings.
desert to Miami. You guys
Yeah.
should design it like desert animals.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
That'd be fun. Little kangaroos, some kangaroos.
And then the hocket is the kangaroo pouch. I just
Yeah, I love
that
it.
would be hilarious.
Love it.
Okay, I love this is a great transition time to talk a little bit more about God in this being a God-centered facility. Why, like, first of all, did you have hesitation in turning and talking about God so openly throughout your content? Because I know that, especially with the titles like Christian, Catholic, we're all believing in God at the end of the day. But did you struggle when you decided to launch things like worship and weightlifting and stuff like that? Where were the hesitations in that?
Trying to decide how real we go. Do we just keep it real?
Just keep
go
it
Donna,
real.
can we
all
just
the
go
way.
real?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to go back a little bit. I believe everybody needs to work hard enough till you can create FU money.
Oh, I love that. Yes,
Okay?
you do.
So you shouldn't stop until you can create FU money. And FU money to us is giving without checking in with each other.
Oh, I love that.
Thea has written a $100,000 check before and made a donation to something that she was passionate about without checking in with me.
I love that.
Okay.
Wow.
And so have I.
Yeah.
So that's the type of trust we have with each other
trust.
when you're spiritually aligned and you
Yep.
understand your kingdom mandate as a couple
Yeah.
and you're creating businesses that are kingdom impacting.
Yeah.
And you stop keeping score in your marriage. Like, you were out with the girls last night, so I get
You
to
were at the
golf
golf
today.
field,
And like,
and
you
then,
stop
you know, we
doing the
don't
tit
keep
for tat
score.
crap.
Yeah.
And you just understand that we have high trust
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
You realize that you can create some pretty cool things. So one, we
Yes.
created an FU lifestyle to where it's just like, you know what? We don't literally say it to very many people.
Yeah,
Tia's
yeah.
dropped a few good F-bombs at a few people who deserved
Yeah,
it.
occasionally.
But it's like an FU of just like, no, devil, F you.
Yeah.
We know our assignment. We know our mission to where nobody's going to dictate and tell us how to live our life. We're not going to be controlled.
Yes.
Because we've surpassed the benchmarks that the world puts on you, and we've created our own economy in the
Yeah.
kingdom. It's a kingdom economy.
Yeah.
So when we have a passion to put $750,000 and start an online school because of
Wow.
our own Christian school right here in Scottsdale pissing us off and trying to systematize my kids,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm starting my own school and I'm going to have a
Wow.
partner run it and we're going to do that. So, you fast forward to our books, the tours,
Yep.
the Hive. We know this is a calling
Yeah.
and we launched it out of like, I know we've never been in the gym space before. We've never owned a smoothie bar. We've never owned a recovery.
No. So this wasn't even. Oh, wow.
We've never owned it. We haven't owned a traditional business in 15
hold up.
years.
Did you guys? So you never started like a tiny gym first to
No.
test the concept?
No.
You just
We've never
went
done this
full on
before.
out?
No.
What the?
Why not?
This
If you're
is
going to do
crazy.
it, I've always said, if you're going to New York, don't get off in Chicago. Just
Yeah.
go. Just do it and do it
Let's
right.
do it.
That's
So we
fair.
did it to the nines and we said, you know
Wow.
what? We're going to be us. Now,
Yeah.
it's interesting
love
how
that.
we are us, but things didn't start to unlock until 8 weeks ago?
Yeah.
What
I see.
happened, T?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you realize that you don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities
Yes.
that are like don't want us to break through. You know, the demonic realm does not want us to like walk in freedom, walk in the light, bring the light. And as we launched in January, I mean, we put I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me as you walk out of the gym. Like
I saw it.
people
Yeah.
knew when we were opening, and obviously if you've been following Doug and I for the last, 15 years on social media, we're very public about our faith and our journey. And I love Jesus, but I do cuss a little. And I mean, people, it ruffles some feathers and things like that. So we were forward facing from the beginning. But honestly, like the warfare for me, I'm such a feeler, was quite intense. So from January through March, I felt this prompting in my spirit that I was supposed to wake up and start coming here at 4 a.m.
Wow.
But it was just like I couldn't get myself out of bed. It was that intense. And so just began praying, like at the end of February and March. I'm like, God, I just need some armor bearers, like bring some people. And I would have random friends just calling me and messaging me and text messages coming in. I'm praying for the Hive. I mean, we had people just sending us prophetic words and things like that. It was just
and
like,
you don't even know. I'm going to pause right there because look at the change since you and Dylan have been apart.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a shift in the last 30 days?
Absolutely.
With people? Why? Because we've actually gotten bolder. We've gotten louder. We started worship in weights. About the time we had to release some things and some people that maybe weren't a part of the future of the Hive.
Yeah.
We've what else have we done, Tia? We've done a lot of internal things. Tia's been coming in every
Blasting
morning
worship
at 4,
music
4:30 in the
and-
morning.
yeah.
It's just like we've been taking a bolder stance, and it's amazing. Since we've gotten bolder the last 6 weeks, memberships have exploded.
Oh, I love
TikToks
that.
have went viral, not even ours.
Yeah.
Instagram Reels have went viral. The louder we've got because you become a magnet. And so again, message to you all.
Yes.
Get louder, get bolder.
Yes.
If you have a cause, if you have something that is prompting you,
Yeah.
do not try to do it like Donna. Don't try to do it like me. Don't try to do it like the next person that you're going to scroll up past this.
Yeah.
You do you and get
Yeah.
louder, get bolder, because
Yeah.
people respect authentic boldness.
Yeah.
And the world needs it today. We need
Yeah.
some courageous people being bold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So things have exploded.
Exploded.
Since
I
we've
was
been
obedient.
bolder,
Yeah. And
louder.
then I
yes,
found
because you're
myself-
obedient. The
my
obedience.
obedience. And so where I felt like I couldn't, I literally began to just start praying from my bed. Like, God, just bring the people. And he's been bringing like
Wow.
amazing people like you to the Hive. And then these prayer warriors around. And then it's been like about a few weeks now that I've been coming to the Hive. And it's been really beautiful here in this space in the morning. I've been blasting worship music and just really setting the atmosphere for people's hearts to be transformed. I mean, it's hip hop, it's Drake out there in the gym. I mean, we're playing some throwdown kind of music, but I want the atmosphere when you come in here for people to feel that love and feel that, like that compassion, like welcome.
Yes.
We're so excited.
We're not here to judge you.
No.
We stand firm in our beliefs, but at the same time, like everyone's welcome.
Everybody's
I ain't gonna
welcome.
judge you, so just please don't judge me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I say a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
A lot
Same.
of
Really?
stuff I regret. Like I do a
Me
lot
too.
of stupid things.
All the
So I'm
time.
like, why would I judge somebody
Yeah.
just because you sin differently than me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, we're all on this journey.
That is so true.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. So there's people who are very high in theologians and like want to follow every single rule and structure, and they're like, that's the only way you're going to get into heaven. But I truly believe that God has created us so uniquely different so that we can speak to different people. Like if I was just in the church as a pastor, I might turn off people who naturally would want to go into to at least like an interest in God, right? But because I curse a little bit here, and I'm not like separating myself completely from the world, because I think that there's a purpose and duty in reaching people who are like right in that in-between stage. And so I really love what you guys are doing, and that you're just real and honest, and God will convict you however he feels whenever there is conviction needing to be happen. But I love that you guys are always just following his voice.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to ask you guys, because it sounds like everything you've done, like you said, you call them God whispers. How do you recognize the differences between your own desires and intentions and a God whisper?
yeah, there's peace. I think there's internal peace, and also there's purpose congruence. T and I, once we understood our purpose and our mandate on this world, we won't touch a business unless it has to do with three things: family, marriage, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or fitness or health.
Helping people.
If it has
Helping
to do
people
with
get
moving
better.
the family, either marriage or kids unit forward, or something to do in health that has to do with the mental, physical component forward, we don't touch a business.
Yeah.
Because that is our assignment on this
Yeah.
earth. And
Yeah.
it gets easier to say no when things come at you. We get presented to be investors into a lot of businesses.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
of the
sure.
one a while ago. I won't share the long story, but I was invited by I can't think of his gentleman's name who travels with the Croatia.
Oh, yes.
But he wanted me to be a partner in this hotel in Costa Rica. I mean, on paper, slam dunk. He's going to run it. He's like, Doug, I just need a $500,000 investment. And dude, we'll crush it. He showed me all the numbers. And you know what? We would have. And guess what? I could have made the investment. I was like, on paper, this thing mats out. But again, we operate on a kingdom economy. And I'm like, that would be a transactional money grab. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not putting, there's good investments out there, but God
knowing our
made
assignment.
it clear to us
Yeah.
that I will bless you, Doug and Tia, as long as you stay faithful to our assignment, because it would require some distraction from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we do, our real estate has to do with homes that we rent out so people can have conferences. And so anything to move the person forward, family or faith or health and fitness is what we will touch. So it just gets easier to say no when people come at us. Here at the Hive, we're getting so many people coming at us for, hey, you want to do this? You want me, I'll sell your stuff in here. And it's like, we can feel it through an internal piece, what that person's intentions are, or if there's a purity in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I feel like the biggest thing that I want to get across, I think, Donna, to people is that you're never too far off from God. Like, God is relentlessly pursuing us. He made us in his image. And so when I began to get that perspective, I think in my 20s is when I really, like, I got saved when I was like 5 years old. You know, I accepted Christ into my life. I don't know a life anything different. And over the last 15 years, we've had the opportunity to travel to over 30 nations. So we've been, to Indonesia, we've been to Singapore, we've been to Dubai, we've been to every nook and cranny of this world pretty much at this point. We just got home from Kenya. And to watch the pursuit of God on humanity is like,
oh my gosh, it's a movement happening right now.
Yeah,
So
and we get to be
It
the
is.
hands and
Yeah.
feet. How are they ever going to encounter the love of Jesus, this Savior that we've had the blessing of encountering? We get to go be that in the world. And so I felt like I just needed to share that. Like, you are never too far off from God. He will meet you in your car.
Yes.
He will meet you on the treadmill. He'll meet you out on the hike. Maybe it's through a bird. For me, God really met me in creation. Like, it was through seeing the bunny rabbit and seeing the birds and, feeling the breeze. And so I think that's what I just desire most in my life when I'm done on this earth, is that when people encountered me, that they encountered the hands and feet of Jesus and the love of God. And I just felt like I needed to get that out and make sure that people know that you're never too far off.
You get to be representations of
Yes.
God and his pursuit for you.
Yes.
I had a conversation not too long ago about a friend who's kind of more in like the new age spiritualism.
Yep.
And I could have absolutely went the theologian side and was like, well, this, and this not in the Bible, blah, blah. But I felt God in my heart convict me and say, instead, just show up Christ-like.
Yeah.
Give as much love as you can. And God will transform them
Yes.
themselves. That's where I think a lot of Christians, or however you want to label them, get it wrong. Is like they're trying to force your beliefs, and nobody ever just follows because somebody told you to do something. You have to have understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we're starting to get really close on time, but I really wanted to touch in on your relationship together with Christ, because I think it's very powerful, and you don't see a lot of couples out there at all anymore, right? So first of all, you said 25 years
Yep.
will be next month.
Yep.
Really, really cool. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was like some of the biggest, well, first of all, were you both in pursuit of God when you first got together?
Yes, we fell.
Okay.
I say in love would be weird. We were in a program actually right here in Phoenix, an internship called Master's Commission.
Uh-oh.
It was absolutely awesome. And during that program, you're not allowed to date. And so they asked you to give yourself, will you come to the program, give a year of your life to God, and just not have the distractions of boys or girls.
Yeah.
So I was in my second year. Tia was in her first year.
Okay.
And towards the end of it, though, the special thing was I got to see Tia for the beauty that she is. And actually, I fell in love more with her for her walk with God and her pursuit of God, because everyone respected the rules.
Yeah.
It wasn't just rules. It was like, they kind of asked you, like, will you just date God for this year? And
Yeah.
at the end of the year, there'll be all that there. So you weren't trying to break the rules. You were just like, sure, if you notice someone was cute, but yet it was like, it's off. There's no distraction right now.
Yeah.
So I got to see her and know her as a person
Yeah.
for a long time. We got to travel together in groups. And then I remember it was a couple months before the year was going to end. And I was all of a sudden, I'm like, dang,
You're
she's
like,
hot.
oh,
I realized she was hot
I love that.
because I saw her actually in pursuit of the way that she worshiped and loved the Lord
Yeah.
and her tenderness for the Lord. And then she got hotter. So I feel like it was
Amen.
neat. And normally it's the other way around. You notice a hot chick, you try to get with them or do something, disrespectful
Yeah.
too soon. And then you're like, oh, by the way, do we like each other after you've already had sex, after you've already crossed a lot of boundaries?
Yes.
That has convoluted or confused things. So
Yeah, and I
Yes.
mean, we started our relationship. I mean, we didn't live together before we were married. We stayed absent. We didn't have sex until our wedding night.
Wow.
I mean, was that easy? No. Like
No.
we definitely had many close calls,
came about this far.
but
We got close. Just the
But-
tip. No, it wasn't a tip.
oh, Douglas. It was a commitment on the front end that was something that actually in our community, like that was something that was, I think almost like a pride thing. Like you stayed pure till your wedding night.
Yeah, it was a different. That was a
It was a
different
different
movement,
era.
though. Different era. It wasn't easy though.
It was not easy,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: we live in the blessing of that.
Yeah, I know for a fact.
And
we live in the
I,
blessing.
I don't.
right,
it's
too.
not the normalized thing in culture today.
Right.
But I do believe, even if you have been, sexually active, and if you can give yourselves that 2 months or 3 months before your wedding day or a month before and just set yourselves apart,
Yes.
establishing that foundation,
boundaries.
that
Yes.
boundaries.
You're actually establishing self-respect
Yes.
for your partner
Yes.
and for yourself, that I can say no.
Yeah.
Just like you can say no to the ding dongs or the Twinkies, just like
the
you can
alcohol.
say no to that. It's saying no. I value and respect something, even
And
if
there's a
we
blessing
had
that can't-
and I know for a fact
There's a
that-
blessing. I mean, the first,
For sure.
year 3, year 7, I think it was like year 12. We had some harder
Yeah. Oh my
years.
gosh, yeah.
But because we set a foundation, and I mean, we have invested in our marriage and in our life, both individually and as a couple. We've put ourselves in coaching programs. We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to put ourselves in incubator systems where we were being coached, we were being mentored, that we were like being held accountable.
Yes.
I mean,
You
Doug's
need
part of
that.
an amazing group of men called Brave Co. I've got Live Out Loud and some amazing women that, through Kick Fear in the Face and different things that I've connected to. So we've not done it alone. That's the biggest thing. And individually, our relationship with God is like foundational, so that when we come together, so when he's had his seasons of struggles, or I've had my seasons where I'm prideful or, judgmental or whatever, like that's not on him. That's a Tia thing that I've got to get to the root
Yes.
of with God and work it out and get counseling and get, deeper work done, that, I got to do my work so I can come to the marriage whole.
That's so good. That's how Dylan and I actually are a lot. We've been talking about this because before, when we got together, we were not with Christ. I mean, we were into personal development,
Sure.
spirituality, yada yada.
Yeah.
And we were sleeping with each other before we got married, but we did have a calling in our hearts to set ourselves apart before we got married. So we remained abstinent before getting
Wow.
married. And even if it was just like a month,
Right.
it did change our heart
Absolutely.
posture
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. And that's a sweet spot to talk about, because I believe our relationship, we began to dig deeper and deeper into why things happen, or why we are the way
We are the way we are.
the way we are. And I talk about my family bloodline. I found out when my deepest season, when I was in my 20s, I had a pretty severe pornography addiction. And during that season, I found out later in my life, when I was struggling the most with pornography or lust, was the same season that my dad was cheating on my mom. He was in the exact same age. And that's
Wow.
why I begin to understand that this is not my battle alone. My dad did not deal with things in his 20s that I started to recognize and have since dealing with. Now, the good news is I know this. I can prepare my son, whether he's married or not. I know what he's going to face at 23, 24, 25, 26.
Yeah.
But I can go to him. I cannot just tell him, hey, this might happen. I'm going to be like, dude, grandpa, me,
Yeah.
and now you're going to face it. Get
Yeah.
ready. Like,
Yeah.
And you're
take
gonna
it head on.
overcome it.
Whether you're married, whether you're pure, whether you're in ministry, whether you're preaching on Sundays. You're
Yeah.
a human. You're a man.
Yep.
God made us to like boobs. That's a good thing. Phoenix, this is a good thing. You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your wife boobs only, or whatever. So
With boundaries, with restrictions.
right. So, but these are the things we got to talk about.
Yeah.
We got to prepare.
Yeah.
For, T and I have a podcast. It's currently on hold right now since we started the Hive, but it's over 100 episodes, and one of our most
Wow.
well loved and honored and respected episodes that has the most views and clicks is the one where we openly talk about all this stuff. I think literally the title of it is called Boobs, Butts, and
Something.
Tummy Tucks.
Skin removal. Yeah. Tummy tucks.
Oh my
Tummy
gosh!
tucks.
But you know what?
That is
Podcast
a
has
great
the most
name.
hate from all of my Christian brothers and sisters.
I'm sure.
Is that one, because we actually go there and we actually talk about everything: addiction, affairs,
Right.
tummy tucks, breast enhancements,
You
working out,
should.
doing the hard things, because
It's
you can
life.
find all this stuff all over the internet on podcasts that are nasty, dirty, talking about the derogatory. But dare you find a Christian group, a Christian couple sitting there just being real and raw and open
Yeah.
and honest.
And saying you can break through. You
Yes.
can have an amazing marriage,
Yeah.
an amazing sex life. It's okay if you don't want to get the skin removal, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But if you want that, go do it. Don't
Yeah.
hold back from becoming everything that you want to become. I mean, if Doug would have never done that skin removal for, his breasts, whatever you called them, and did the man
Boobs.
the
Boobs.
moves,
Man boobs.
I would have
Looters.
loved him. It would have been fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
his confidence, who he's become
Yeah.
because of that, and it does show scars, but
Yeah.
that people connect to our imperfections more than our perfections. And I
Yes.
think that's why people connected so much with that podcast is like, oh, you're real people. You have
Yes,
real
doing real
struggles.
things, talking about real life. I think that's actually, I don't know why people want to avoid it so much, because you can't actually overcome something if you never have exposure to it.
That's right.
Like if you think about how they train horses, right? They do those stress tests. I've
Yes.
seen those people where they
Yeah.
like run around, they're screaming and hollering. The only way the horse stops being scared is by exposure to it.
Yeah.
And so that's like the same thing when I have conversation with my husband. When we're arguing, when we're having difficult conversations, I'm like, cool, now we have another opportunity to test ourselves against the normal habits of like, let's blow up and curse at each other. Instead of doing that, let's get a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that you only do that through opportunities to test it.
Yeah.
So people need to stop being afraid of talking about these things. Like just because you're Christian and you're following God doesn't mean that you don't experience life. We still live in these human bodies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're forgiven. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the biggest grace and forgiveness heals. And
Yeah.
it's like over time, I think time heals too, as well. Like in the moment when I reflect back on the seasons where it was hard, we chose to forgive and we choose on a daily basis to not bring the old into the now. Like
Yeah.
we're only forward. What's, our mission now is like, okay, we're building the Hive. We're impacting this community. We're building out our school and our children. We have 4 kids that we are focused on in raising them. So, we are going to be available to our children to talk about these things that we've battled, because the only reason our parents didn't share it with us because I don't think they felt psychological safety.
It was the secret generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You show up to Sundays
Very.
as a good little Christian family. You don't.
But
talk
you don't
about
talk
the
about it.
troubles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, if you want a better marriage, the cool thing to do is to be in therapy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not because something's wrong, because you want it to get.
You want to get
Because
better.
you want to get
Yeah.
better, because
Yeah.
something's right, and you want it to be even more right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just think we gotta. If you have an area of your life that you want to grow in, you need a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a health coach. You need a financial coach. You need a marriage coach. You need a parenting coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need a advertising coach.
Marketing
whatever
coach.
you
Yeah.
are wanting to improve upon, you better get a coach.
Yeah.
Get a coach in life.
Because there's somebody who's ahead of you in that sense. So why would you waste so much time trying to figure out what they already figured out?
Yes,
It's
that's
like
right.
fast tracking your process.
Yes, that's right.
And accountability is huge,
Yeah.
which is also why I think marriage is huge, because it's like your built-in accountability partner. You get to
Yes.
grow together and challenge each other and mirror each other
Right.
Yeah.
in a lot of the things that you're growing up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question. I as a couple, and especially with everything that you're building, I know that that means you're getting exposure to a lot of new people into your lives. How has that challenged your marriage? Like, are there people like randomly hitting on you, trying to destroy the marriage and like trying to, I don't know. I just feel like the exposure is like, the reason why I ask is because Dylan and I, we're starting to grow a lot on our pages. And I know that that comes with the enemy, and there's like provocative people who are trying to, intervene on a beautiful thing, because marriage is hard to maintain nowadays.
Yeah.
So have you faced any of these challenges going in?
You go first, babe.
That's good. As we began to step into our fitness competitions and things, that was in 2022. I feel like we confronted some of those beasts and confronted some of that area of our life where, for me, I was cute as a young girl, and I was
Still
still cute, but I became more beautiful
Now
as
she
I stepped
got
into
hot.
my womanhood, and so I had to face some of those things of like having other men look at me, walking in my confidence and not shrinking back, because I think as a woman, when men do get more flirtatious around you, I think you have an ability as a woman to like have self-respect, still be beautiful, and like create the space where it's like there's boundaries.
Yes.
And they know, like men know when a woman is like, no, I'm set apart, I'm beautiful, but I am only for him.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I see it all the time here. You can tell, like, sometimes I'm shocked that some people are married when I find out they're married, just because
of the way
I
they
believe
handle
you
themselves.
put out a vibe
Yes.
that you're somehow emotionally available, even if you're not physically available.
Yes.
They're-
It's so true. You
and I
just
don't
pick
know
up
if
as
they're-
subtle, but
Yes, and so I've been blessed with actually not. I mean, I'm pretty smart. I can tell when people. We've been speaking a lot.
Yeah.
We've spoken on big stages, and so we're used to being at an event where someone kind of comes up and wants a selfie or an autograph, and I don't like doing autographs. I think that's weird. It's just like, don't be a fan of me. That's so weird. But whatever. I get it. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
But others, it's almost like they're drawn to the prestige and the power. And I see it a little bit here in the Hive. People are like, oh, the moment they find out I'm the owner, they give you a little bit of a little bit of a different look.
Yeah.
Which I don't feel like I'm just one of the people. We all go through our stuff. We all put our, pants on the same way. So,
Yes, we do.
But I do feel like I'm not emotionally or spiritually available for anyone else, but her definitely physical. And so I feel like I can be, in the world, but not of the world. I can be in the Hive, but not of the distractions. And so I think people, it's an aura is such a weird word, but I'm going to use the word aura.
It's like an
There's
energy.
essence
An essence.
that you put out if you're available, to where you are actually attracting more flirtation to come at you.
Very true.
Whether you're a guy or a girl, you are emotionally available and you're putting it out there. So if you're always getting hit on, and you're listening
There's an
to
energy.
this,
There's a
don't get me wrong,
sexual-
you're going to be beautiful. You're going to feel looked at. I see Tia. People always love looking at her butt. I do too. You can look, just don't, just don't touch. But, but Tia's not putting it out there for like trying to. No, she loves to be sexy for me.
Yeah.
She loves to dress confident. She's a very beautiful woman.
Yes.
Just like you, Donna. But you're not crossing a boundary to where it's just like you can tell when it's just like you are looking for trouble.
Yeah.
You are inviting.
You
are inviting
Yeah.
stuff, and I feel like we're not inviting that because we're not emotionally available for anyone but each other. But we're always available.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
And communication and just continued connection here, and having those people in your life that, I remember in that 2022, it was like there was two different women that I connected to through, I obviously connected with Doug, but I connected with a couple friends that just, I was able to process externally, like, this is what's happening, that, I'm having, these kind of, it wasn't even feelings towards those people or those men. It was just like I had never had that kind of interaction. And so I think that's the biggest thing. As you grow in influence and impact, right? The enemy wants to bring those like things into your life.
Yeah.
But accountability is huge, and just continued conversation.
And I want to end with one thing, because, if this pisses somebody off, I'm not sorry.
Yeah,
because I
don't
feel
be.
like it needs to be said.
Yeah.
You talked about living in the blessing
Yes.
of
Of
let's
our
just say
choices.
of our choices when we were younger, or saving ourselves from marriage.
Yeah.
One of those blessings is, and why I was literally had a funny come to me, and I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this, but I was, you'd say, I love, one of the chapters of Tia's book, it's called Kick Fear in the Face, is called I Love Jesus, but I Cuss a Little. I think
gotta get the book.
we
love
need to
that we're
we need
tying
to
that.
actually in our next book, because we're going to write a book together. Our next one.
Ooh.
I love Jesus, but we bang a lot.
Douglas.
So think
Of
about
course.
this. Just peep this for a minute. Why is that?
That's
We're
amazing.
25 years of marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this because I feel like it's an open podcast. Well, we probably
Yeah.
have sex 5-6 times a week.
Amen.
And you want to.
Yeah.
No, she wants it more than me. Why?
Let's go.
Here's the cool, not more than me, but I'm just saying, like, there's never been a time. And I think the cool part is, and some of you might be listening to this going, what's wrong with my wife, or what's wrong with me?
Well, we got our hormones in check too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm,
we've
huge.
done the work.
Yeah.
Part of the work is we didn't drag anything into the marriage. And if you did drag things into the marriage, do the work.
Do the
Yeah.
work.
Figure out why you
Yeah.
don't want to have sex with your husband.
Yeah.
Figure out why you are not attracted to your wife emotionally, spiritually, physically anymore.
Yeah.
Like, do the work,
Yeah.
because we're at 25 years of marriage
having a lot of
and
fun.
we are more in love
Oh.
and sexually active with each other in a healthy, pure way, because I feel like we keep doing the work physically. We're getting the tools, whether it be testosterone, hormone therapy, the counseling. If you have drama or past, or if there's been, heaven forbid, where you've been abused
Yeah.
sexually, emotionally, abortions, if there's things going on in your past that you have not fully, you've maybe put a Band-Aid on, but you haven't actually done some surgery work on to where it can properly heal.
And
I
talk
would
about
just
it.
challenge you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
getting emotional because I feel like some of you are listening to this right now and you need to go back and do the work. Spend a year of your life digging a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
doing that work, because it can be so good. And that's why I don't apologize for our marriage,
Yeah.
because I'm like, it can be so good if you're willing to work for it.
Yeah.
But we've had to have some hard conversations.
Yeah.
I've had to get some accountability in some areas. She's had to deal with some stuff too. But we're here today and we're going to keep working at it every single day. So I just encourage all the listeners, Donna, right now, that do the work. The work is worth it.
Yeah.
Amen. That is a good way. I think we're right on the hour. Okay. So I made a mistake again. I always try and start off my podcast with prayer, but we're going to end it in prayer.
Amen.
So let's, if you guys don't mind.
Mm.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for having Tia and Doug here on my
Yes, Lord.
podcast to showcase their testimony, for them to glorify you with their story, the way they live. Everything they've done has been such a powerful representation of who you are. And God, I pray that they continue to show up as themselves. They continue to be a walking, living example of carrying their own cross. They truly are a blessing. They've created a community here at the Hive that I have never seen before. And I feel God's movement when we walk into this building. And so this is just a great testimony of the tools that you have used, Tia and Doug,
Yes,
just
Lord.
completely
Thank you,
walking
Jesus.
and living faith. Thank you for all of the
Thank you.
wonderful blessings. Thank you for
Thank you.
having them on my
Thank you.
podcast. And I pray that this lands on the ears of those who truly need to hear it and plants the seed for all of those who are coming to Jesus. Thank you guys for being here.
Mm.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.